What do you think, looking back on that season, so last season, was one of the biggest misconceptions of the Indiana Fever? Like, maybe it was like locker room stuff. I feel like early on,
oh my gosh, there was so much locker room talk. Oh my gosh, her body language, she was not happy. She hates us.
In a brand new interview on Sue Bird's Bird's Eye View podcast, Aliyah Boston didn't just talk. She unloaded the truth like never before. From her first raw reaction to Caitlin Clark back in college, to becoming teammates on the Indiana Fever, to how their bond has shifted through the highs, and even Clark's painful injury, Boston spilled it all. And wait for it. She dropped locker room secrets so wild fans are still buzzing about them. This wasn't your typical feel-good chat. It was raw, real, and even laugh-out-loud hilarious at times. If you're rocking with Aliyah, Caitlin, and the Fever, drop AB and CCC in the comments right now. People inside that Fever locker room were already whispering about what Sheryl Swoopes once said, but Boston just fired back with the biggest in-your-face moment that left Swoopes looking stunned. When Caitlin Clark first landed in Indiana, no one was more curious or more brutally honest than Aliyah Boston. These two had clashed in one of the most unforgettable Final Four battles of all time, and Boston never forgot how Caitlin hung 40 on her that night. Instead of burying it, she admitted she had to face it head-on because, let's be real, dropping 40 on someone isn't something you just pretend didn't happen once you're teammates. But here's the twist. It didn't spark drama. It turned into something unexpectedly refreshing. Aliyah's take on that clash showed exactly how grounded she is, flipping the script from rivalry to straight-up respect. That shift from competitor to collaborator was instant, and the bond between the two only grew tighter once they hit the floor together.
People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
As the season rolled on, their connection was impossible to miss. Boston broke down what really makes it click, and trust me, it's not just numbers on a stat sheet. It's about raw trust, pure intuition, and knowing when to roll, cut, or seal without ever needing to shout for the ball. Caitlin's laser vision as a passer and Aliyah's flawless positioning have turned them into one of the most dangerous duos in the game. And when Aliyah admitted she literally studies Caitlin's eyes to know her next move, it hit different. That's not just skill, that's straight-up mind reading on the court. But here's where it gets crazy. When Clark joined the Fever, it wasn't just a roster move, it was a cultural earthquake. Overnight, every single possession was under a microscope. The pressure, sky high. Boston opened up about how those first weeks were pure chaos. New offense, unfamiliar roles, and the world demanding instant fireworks like they were already a dynasty. Instead of being allowed to grow, the team got labeled as a super team gone wrong after just a few rough games. And the media circus? Ruthless. Every misstep, every missed pass turned into wild conspiracy theories. Trolls broke down Aliyah's body language like it was forensic evidence, twisting every glare and shrug into fake drama. She admitted the wait was brutal. She already holds herself to impossible standards. The last thing she needed was the internet turning her chemistry with Caitlin into some soap opera. But here's the truth. Boston never once blamed Caitlin. In fact, she flipped it, giving Clark full credit for raising the league, embracing the spotlight, and pulling in millions of new fans. What she refused to accept was the unfair fantasy that two young stars should just click instantly like magic. Chemistry takes time. And now that they've had that time, the proof is right there on the scoreboard. The connection is real. But just when it started looking unstoppable, the drama machine cranked back up. Out of nowhere, whispers of locker room beef, silent treatment, and bad blood went viral. And the internet swore it had the whole story figured out.
Like, I forgot, we were like doing something. We had something. I was like, hey, I just want to say, I'm like really upset that you like did what you did in that Final Four game. I was like, I feel like I just need to get it off my chest because like we are teammates, but I'm like, you didn't have to do all that. Like you did not have to go for 40 on our dome. Like, girl, we could have just had fun. Yeah, but after that, it was like cool because obviously now we're on the same team, so you don't worry about that. But I always thought it was funny because I'm like, we just went from competing against each other, you beating us and now we're on the same team.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, girl, it's okay. I get it. I'm not mad at you for real, but I am. Because like, why would you?
Meanwhile, Aliyah was literally just waking up from a nap when the so-called drama exploded online. She logs in, sees the chaos everywhere, and all she can do is laugh with her teammates like, y'all good? That's how fake the tension really was. Fans were busy drawing battle lines while Aliyah was still rubbing sleep out of her eyes. She made it crystal clear. The wild stories spinning out there were nothing but noise. Inside the Fever locker room, locked in, unified, and chasing one goal only, winning games. Forget the gossip. The bond in that room was untouchable. Indiana didn't just protect the locker room, they protected each other. While the outside world built conspiracy theories, the players stayed quiet and let their actions on the court silence everybody. So to all the internet detectives and couch coaches who swore they cracked the case, take a seat. Because the only thing actually brewing in Indiana isn't drama, it's danger for every other team in the league. The Fever's playoff return in 2024 may have been brief, but for Aliyah Boston, it meant everything. She still talks about that series against Connecticut with raw emotion. Equal parts pride and frustration. Game 1 slipped away, but Game 2, they were right there, punch for punch. And it wasn't skill that decided it, it was straight-up veteran savvy. Connecticut knew when to strike, when to slow it down, and how to shut the door. For Aliyah, that was the real lesson. Experience beats hype in the postseason. What haunted her wasn't just losing, but the belief that if it had gone to a third game back in Indiana, the Fever could have stolen it. That fire still burns, because it's one thing to sneak into the playoffs, but it's another to walk away convinced you didn't get your shot. And that chip on Boston's shoulder? That's the fuel powering this whole new chapter. Now the script has flipped. Aliyah's in year 3 and she's done playing the underdog role. No more sneaking up on teams, no more, "Aw, they're young and scrappy" talk. With off-season reinforcements, a new coaching staff, and the Caitlin Clark spotlight burning brighter than ever, the Fever aren't chasing respect anymore. They're expected to win.
The joke moved on. That's really what it is.
And then you kind of just move on. You're like, listen, we're on the same team now, so let's whoop some butt. Let's do it.
100%.
And Aliyah admits, that pressure? They welcome it with open arms. Every squad in the league is loading up for a shot at them. But Boston says, bring it on. The mission is clear. Chemistry, consistency, and zero excuses. Injuries, lineup shuffles, outside chatter, none of it matters. This year, Indiana isn't just showing up to fight, they're coming to take over. And Aliyah put it blunt. Once this team fully locks in, it's going to get scary for the rest of the W. But reality hit quick. The season didn't play out like some fairy tale rise. What started with sky-high expectations got crushed by a brutal wave of injuries, none bigger than Caitlin Clark going down mid-season. For a young squad still figuring out its identity, that kind of blow could have cracked them wide open. But Boston swears, this team doesn't fold, they reload. Next woman up became the mantra. Injuries? Part of the game. Excuses? Not an option. Whether you're a starter or deep off the bench, you're expected to be ready to deliver. That mentality, Aliyah says, is exactly why they stayed alive every single night, even when key stars were missing. Still, losing Caitlin wasn't just about losing a bucket, it wrecked the entire offensive flow. Boston broke it down perfectly. When Clark's out there, everything shifts. The ball zips quicker, the tempo jumps, and defenses stretch until they break. And she put it best. When Caitlin's on the floor, be ready to run! Caitlin's injury wasn't just a setback, it was an earthquake that shook the entire league. The Fever felt it instantly, but so did fans and analysts who couldn't believe the WNBA let its biggest attraction take hit after hit without proper protection. Aliyah admitted it changed everything. The offense slowed, the energy dipped, and suddenly the spotlight wasn't about highlights, it was about survival.
And I hear you that it takes time, but like, what do you think it is about each of your games that works well, like mostly in the pick and roll? We'll talk pick and roll.
I think honestly, one, like Caitlin, the attention she gets, right? Like teams are like up. Like if they're under and dropped, that shot's going up. Because I'm going to set a good screen, that shot's going up, and she's getting it. And then it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to step up. And she's just a phenomenal passer. Like her angles, like she knows exactly where to.
The whispers started fast. Did the league fail its own superstar? Was Clark being sacrificed for ratings while her body took the punishment? Aliyah didn't hide from it. She said straight up that playing without Caitlin felt like running in mud compared to the breakneck tempo she brings. And yet, instead of crumbling, Indiana dug deeper. proving they weren't just a one-woman show. Boston revealed that inside the locker room, Clark's injury lit a fire. It forced everyone else to level up. Role players turned into game changers and veterans carried heavier loads. Every possession became a test of pride and grit. The world thought the Fever would fold, but instead they came out swinging. And here's the scandal. The more Indiana proved they could fight, the louder the outside world got. Critics framed it as proof Clark had been overhyped, while fans blasted the league for not protecting its future face. The noise was deafening, but Aliyah's message cut through. This wasn't about excuses. It was about survival, and Indiana was still standing tall. And now here we are, the Fever locked in a war with the Las Vegas Aces in the semifinals, and every single game feels like a street fight for survival. The series shifts back to Indiana, and the tension inside that arena is sharp enough to cut glass. What makes this moment jaw-dropping? Indiana's doing it with half their roster bruised and battered, 6 key players dealing with injuries. The odds were supposed to bury them, but instead of folding, this squad leaned into the chaos and came out swinging. And at the heart of it all, Aliyah Boston. Head coach Stephanie White called her the team's rock, and she's proving it, balancing between beast mode competitor and emotional leader, showing the league exactly what it looks like when a team refuses to bow down to adversity. As the fight shifts back to Indiana, this isn't just about chasing wins. It's about making a statement. The Fever might be beaten up, but they're far from broken. Boston didn't just show up this year. She transformed. Through injuries, media storms, and suffocating expectations, she's been the anchor that keeps this team standing tall. The stage doesn't get any bigger than this. Aliyah Boston staring down A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces under the playoff lights.
The floor, I think, is great. And then for me, it's always like, I'm always going to get in her pocket because I know that she's looking to pass that ball and she wants to get us in the best position. And so for me, it's like, okay, well, I'm looking at your eyes. So once I see your eyes, I'm there. You don't have to say anything. I'm going.
Forget regular season matchups. This is the kind of battle that defines legacies. Every possession feels like a war in the paint. Bodies crashing, tempers flaring, and neither star willing to give an inch. The Aces came in as defending champs, dripping with experience and swagger. But Boston isn't bowing to anybody. She's forcing the league to witness a changing of the guard. And here's the scandal. People doubted whether Boston had the killer instinct to go blow for blow with the face of the league. But in this series, she's shredding that narrative. Wilson might be the reigning queen, but Boston is planting her flag, refusing to be treated like a sidekick in her own story. Teammates feed off her energy, fans rise to their feet with every bucket, and suddenly the underdog isn't playing scared. They're dictating the fight. But it's not just about Boston versus Wilson, it's about two dynasties colliding. The Aces, polished and ruthless, against the Fever, raw and hungry. Every headline, every debate show, every viral clip is asking the same question. Are we watching the torch being passed right in front of our eyes? Or will the Aces remind everyone that experience always kills momentum? And don't forget, the Fever are doing this while missing half their roster. 6 injuries, rotations thrown into chaos, role players stretched to their limits, and still Indiana refuses to blink. That's why this series feels like more than basketball. It's a statement that the next era of the WNBA is here, whether the old guard likes it or not. For Aliyah Boston, this isn't just another playoff run. It's personal validation. From being overshadowed by hype, doubted by critics, and underestimated by rivals, to now standing toe-to-toe with the most dominant player in the game, this is her moment to etch her name in history. And make no mistake, if Indiana pulls this off, the entire league will never look the same again.
Caitlin Clark effect is definitely real. I think we all feel it in our unique ways.
100%.
Yeah. How did you experience it? Like, I know early on you talked about logging off social media. Like, what did you just learn in that period of time? And by the way, the social media aspect is not Caitlin's fault.
No.
So it's like, but what did you learn just like in that period of time?
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves Caitlin. They love watching Caitlin.
Yeah.
And so I think that just brings so much eyes. And I think for our league, that's great. Like, that is great for us. You have so many people coming in, they're watching. Like I always say, like, they might come in for Caitlin and they leave and they're like, dang, this girl's a hooper too.
Yeah.
Oh, I like her. Like,
You're seeing
you
it
hear
in
so many people say it. You
viewership.
hear, like, everyone says it. And I think you just kind of...
If the Fever actually finish this job and take down the Las Vegas Aces, it won't just be an upset, it'll be a full-on earthquake that rattles the entire WNBA. Think about it. The reigning champs, stacked with stars, seasoned in pressure moments, getting toppled by a young squad that wasn't even supposed to survive the first round. That's not just a storyline, that's a revolution. The ripple effects would be massive. Sponsors, networks, and front offices have been banking on the Aces as the league's poster child. But if Indiana steals this series, the spotlight shifts overnight. Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston wouldn't just be rising stars anymore. They'd be the new faces of the league, and the balance of power would tilt hard toward Indiana. And let's be real, this is the kind of chaos the league can't control. Every headline, every trending clip, every fan debate would crown the Fever as the future. Meanwhile, critics would rip the Aces for collapsing under the weight of expectation, turning what was once the league's dream dynasty into a cautionary tale. For Boston, it's personal history being written in real time. For Clark, it's the ultimate comeback statement. For Indiana, it's validation that all the noise, all the doubt, all the scrutiny, they didn't just survive it, they flipped it into fuel. And if they knock Vegas off their throne, the rest of the league better brace themselves, because the Fever won't just be contenders anymore, they'll be the standard everybody else has to chase. The moment Indiana started swinging with the champs, the culture shifted, fast. Clips of Boston battling Wilson, Clark draining deep threes, and role players stepping up started flooding timelines. Every highlight went viral, every tweet turned into a debate, and suddenly the Fever weren't just a playoff story, they were a cultural takeover. Fans from coast to coast couldn't get enough. Jerseys sold out overnight, memes lit up social feeds, and Indiana games started pulling in numbers the league had only dreamed about.
That, oh my gosh, there was so much locker room talk, and
everybody I talked to were like, we vibe, we're good.
I was like, what are we talking about? Like, it's so easy for people to just make all these assumptions. Some people are like, oh my gosh, her body language, she was not happy. She hates this entire squad. I don't know. Sometimes when you have a bad game personally, that takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
It's 100%. Not that you don't like the team. It's not like you, but that takes a toll on you. Every single night we come out, we want to play good. And so like all the time there were locker room talks. I forgot what was the conversation one time. I woke up from my nap, getting ready to go to pregame. People are like, oh, they hate each other. They hate each other. We walked in the locker room. We're like, girl, you good?
Yeah.
I'm like, I just woke up. I couldn't tell you what's happening right now, but all I know is we about to hoop. At 7 p.m.,
The Fever weren't just playing basketball, they were rewriting the narrative of who runs this league. And the reactions? Explosive. Some rival players showed love, reposting clips and dropping fire emojis like they already knew this was history. Others stayed quiet, but their silence spoke louder than words, because deep down, they understood the landscape was shifting and Indiana was at the center of it. Meanwhile, media giants scrambled to adjust their scripts. The Aces were supposed to dominate, the dynasty was supposed to keep rolling. But now, everyone was forced to admit the truth. The Fever were here, and they weren't waiting for permission to take over. For Aliyah Boston, this was the vindication moment. For Clark, it was the coronation. Together, they weren't just teammates, they were the spark setting the whole WNBA on fire. And whether fans loved it or hated it, they couldn't look away. The Indiana Fever had officially become must-watch basketball. And now, with Aliyah Boston holding it down, Caitlin Clark lighting it up, and the rest of the Fever riding that wave, they've turned every ounce of doubt into fire and every setback into pure identity.
It's definitely been a struggle, but I think just at the start of the season too, like, you know, you have your start of the season meetings and you're talking, and for us it was about, listen, like no matter what happens in the season, it's next woman up. And you have to be ready. And I feel like obviously struggling with injuries, and then, you know, you sign people and then they leave, and it's like, listen, like whoever is next, be ready to play, because it doesn't matter. Like the games still keep coming. Like you still have to be ready to
The Indiana Fever aren't just promising anymore. They're here. They're dangerous, and they're only getting started. If you've been sleeping on this squad, it's time to wake up, because the best chapter is still ahead. So drop a comment with C, B, and A to show your love for Aliyah, Caitlin, and the Fever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the next twist in this wild ride. Click the video on the screen and we'll see you in the next one.